gatekeeping in freelance writing. The other day, I was doing research for a client. I was writing a blog post for them, and obviously I'm reading through a ton of other articles in my niche to research for this post, and I recognized the name of the writer because I knew her. So long story short, she was a girl who actually lived in my old apartment building when I was still in sales. And I'll never forget, I found out that she did freelance writing on the side. And I said, oh, that's something I want to get into. How do you do that? And her text to me was, trust me, you don't want to get into this. You can't make any money freelance writing. Don't even bother. And actually, I didn't bother. I continued along my path. I totally let her comment get to me and say, okay, well, she's the only person I know who's actually doing this, and she's saying that it doesn't make money, so why would I pursue this? And it got me to thinking about this term gatekeeping. A lot of people use it online. It's basically when you don't really allow somebody into some sphere, whether it's a career field or whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm doing it, but don't do this. I don't think you can do this. And she wrote in a number of different niches, which I think accounts for why she might not have been having success. She worked full time for a technology company, and she was freelancing on the side. She was in marketing full time and did some freelancing on the side. So her view, that meant that, oh, because I'm not doing it full time, no one can make a full-time income doing this. And it really shut down my ambition to look into it further. It actually took me quitting my job and being unemployed for a few months before I really could mentally be in a space where I was open to new ideas, open to learning about freelancing and really finding out for myself. And I transitioned from being unemployed to just launching myself as a full-time freelance writer despite having no experience. So that brings me to my second point of this video, which is, okay, can you really make money doing this? And if so, how? And there's two things. Number one, it is not going to be an overnight thing. Your income has to be built as a freelancer. So whereas when you start a full-time job, you get a paycheck for the same amount every week, even if you're just training. But in the beginning, when you're building up a full-time freelance business, you are going to start with one client, then you're going to get two, and it's going to be this climb. It doesn't mean it's not doable. It's very doable, and I know because I did it, but it is gradual and it's a build. And what that means is that your finances need to be in a decent place before you get started. Number one, just because the fact of the matter is you're not going to get a steady paycheck off the bat. It's going to be incremental until you get to that stable point, and that is about getting retainer clients, and I can talk all about that as well, of how to actually make your income steady as a freelancer. But in the beginning, you need a little bit of cash reserve so that you're not just taking writing projects, writing clients out of desperation, so you're not taking low paying clients. My biggest advice to new freelancers is do not take super low paying clients in the beginning just for the sake of getting clients, because it will eventually bog you down, burn you out, and discourage you. Whereas if you can say no in the beginning to the suboptimal or not amazing clients, because in the back of your head you're saying, no, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna see if I can get a better client, you're gonna be in a better space because you have this air about you where it says, well, I have options. Because you might not have options in the beginning. I know I didn't. Even though I was saying no to clients, I didn't have options, but I did have a little bit of cash reserve. And everyone's savings account or emergency account or rainy day account is going to really highly depend on your lifestyle, what you need to live off of. And everyone's situation is different, especially if you're in another country, especially if you're married, especially if you have kids, especially if you have a mortgage. Like, there's all these different factors that play into what you can live off of for a few months, right? And I didn't have the biggest cash reserve, but I had something. Now, the other part of this, and here's where the realism or the realistic side of this comes in, is that if you have a spending problem and you have these addictions or you have this lifestyle issue where you are just hemorrhaging money and you are in debt, it is going to be a lot harder for you to go in with the mindset of, well, I know I don't have any clients, but I also know I don't want to take on really bad clients. I want to hold out and keep my standards high and work for the clients that I want to work for. You can't have that mentality if you're desperate for money. So what's even more important than the amount you have saved is your lifestyle, and whether your lifestyle is a hole in a boat where no matter how much cash comes in, it's just flowing back out, or if you have spending issues, if you are not financially disciplined. And I had to work out a lot of those kinks in my mindset and my lifestyle before I transitioned to freelancing. If I did not understand having debt paid off and having an emergency fund in place just in case, I would have really been a nervous wreck, and I would not have mentally been able to navigate launching something brand new, something I had never done before. I had never been self-employed. I'd always been a traditional full-time employee. So it's a little nerve-wracking to see, okay, well, now I'm going to start getting these 1099 style checks. I have to pay my own taxes. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit different. And if you are in this desperate, scattered mindset where you just need money now, that's just not the best place to start your freelance business, because that energy of desperation and rushing and just not having a level head does tend to lead to problems. So I really recommend that you have some cash reserves so you're not absolutely desperate. And I really recommend that you get out of debt, which obviously easier said than done, but it's a process I had to go through. I read Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover, to get that under control. And I paid off about $20,000 of student loan debt while I was working in sales. And I fixed my lifestyle and I stopped being irresponsible with money, which is really hard, but it is doable. But what's even more challenging is getting your lifestyle under control. If you have, especially I think this is big for women, we have a lot of expenses that men don't seem to have. I think men can live a lot more simply. They don't need to buy makeup. They don't need to buy all the skincare, the hair, the clothes, all of that stuff that kind of can make our lives really complicated as women. So I had to get really minimalistic with everything. The best place to start is canceling your monthly subscription. So if there's one thing I have seen so clearly firsthand from working in B2B SaaS is that this whole industry, software as a service, is dependent on this monthly recurring revenue that you get from one person. So the Netflixes of the world, Disney Plus, all of the Peloton membership, which I actually just canceled Peloton because I was so sick of seeing $40 flow out of my bank every month. They really bank on you signing up for this monthly membership, and it's so lucrative for the company, and it's so not advantageous for us to be paying monthly, because when we sign up for things that are monthly, it's $40 a month, big deal, I can afford that. And then you look at what the total cost is by the end of the year and it's not great. So getting your lifestyle under control, not eating out. I mean, none of these things are glamorous and fun, and none of this seems like how the way freelancers portray their lifestyle online, traveling and doing all this stuff. So if you are looking for that type of message, you're probably not going to find it on this channel, because I think I appeal to people who have to be really practical about this stuff, and they have bills to pay and they don't want to be in debt, and they're not trying to be all willy-nilly with their money. That being said, I am somebody that went from being completely unemployed without a full-time job and transitioned into freelancing. And even the second time around, I'm rebooting my freelance business for the second time because I took a full-time role as an in-house writer, and it did not work out, and I left in about 6 months. But I had literally dissolved my freelance business to go in-house. So now I'm building my freelance business up from scratch again, which in the beginning was terrifying. Now I'm excited because I realize my mindset is so much different, and I'm so excited to be a freelancer again, have my freedom back, and I'm really re-energized about my freelance business in a way that I just wasn't before. So it all turned out for the best, even though I am building up my freelance business from scratch. I'm really happy that even if it wasn't ideal, it did turn out for the best. But you would think that if I'm giving you really practical advice, that the practical thing would be to set up some freelance clients and then slowly transition out of full-time work and become a freelancer. And actually, I don't recommend that, because for me, I wanted to throw myself completely into cold pitching and just building my freelance business, and I needed 100% focus because I'm somebody who does give my all to things. If you are like that, where you need to be locked in, you need to not have all these obligations when you're trying something new, it actually might make more sense for you to quit your job and not have that steady income coming in and go all in on your freelance business. So that's where I kind of deviate. I think I see a lot of freelancers who they spend so much time transitioning from 9 to 5 to freelance because they are doing it on the side, and it's very hard to do. It's very hard to work full-time as a writer and then have a full-time job. And that's what keeps people from taking the leap into full-time freelancing, is that they're stuck straddling these two worlds, and it makes them even more insecure that they could ever make the whole full-time freelance thing work, because it seems so hard, when really they'd be better off just quitting their full-time job and focusing full-time on getting those clients. That's my non-practical advice, is to actually burn the boats in that sense and pursue your freelance business full time. So that's the message of this video, is that number one, don't listen to the gatekeepers that tell you you really can't make money doing this, because they're speaking out of their own limitation, not reality, not what's possible for you. And number two, get your lifestyle in check, because you are not going to be a 6-figure freelancer out the gate if you are just starting out. There is a build, and the build is worth it, and it is lucrative, but you have to build to get there, and that takes time. So if you have your lifestyle in check and your expenses are low and you're not hemorrhaging money, it is 100% doable to do this job in peace and not feel like you're not going to have a roof over your head in the next month if you don't figure this whole thing out. And then thirdly, put all of your energy and all of your focus on getting freelance clients, and you can have a full-time freelance income in as little as a few months. That's exactly what happened to me. From the time I decided I was going to do this, I was making a full-time income in like 4 to 5 months, and I landed my first client within 30 days. So it is possible. I know it is. I know it's possible for you. If you're looking for ways to get freelance clients, my recommendation is LinkedIn. I have a free LinkedIn guide at paidcopywriter.com that will explain to you how to set up your profile. I've even put out free resources about how to cold pitch. And then I have a freelance template playbook that I sell on paidcopywriter.com that literally shows you how to cold pitch, but then everything else, how to negotiate your rates, how to respond to this question, that question, how to send your pricing, when to send your pricing, all of the questions that freelancers have once they start building momentum. So good luck, and you can do this.